I did not get it. Okay, come on. We can just pull it out. Now you all know why I'm not a dentist. There we go. Whew. All right, let's see. I can tap that out. There we go. It's gonna fight the whole way. Flying off of there. Very interesting. There we go. There's the spring that I thought was going to kill me. Didn't kill me. It's because I was prepared for it this time. And now I can get to this bolt that I couldn't get to before. That's a cap for that valve. I'm going to turn this on its side. I see a little spring sticking up there. I may snap a quick picture of that. I'll put this back on here. And I'm just going to photograph this just because not always does a parts breakdown look easy to understand. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. I would rather play it safe. This one I can't get to either. Maybe I can pull that out. Does it have a flat surface on it? Let me get a wrench. See if I can get that out. It's going to be bigger than the 3/4. Let's see if 7/8 will work. It is going to work. There we go. I bet you there's a spring or something in here. I almost guarantee it. I always say it's kind of like diffusing a bomb. I've never diffused a bomb before, but when you don't know what's on the side, the other side of the door, you always got to assume the worst, right? And that does not come out by hand. It is kind of oily, but I cannot get a grip on it to pull it out. So we are going to keep turning it with a wrench. Oh, yep, see, look at that. Oh yeah, all sorts of joyous things in there. Yep, there's a spring in there. Oh yeah, this is fun. We'll keep that together. I'm guessing that's a check valve. Oh, and surprise, surprise, I also get a ball bearing as well. A little bit of something for everybody. Okay. It's good and clean in there, so that's good. I'm going to need an extension for my wrench here so I can get to that bolt. All right. Let's see what we get. I'm really interested about that and what that does and why that points in that direction. Maybe it's just to hold that in there, that shaft. But I've never seen anything like that. That's very interesting to me. again, go easy on me. This is the first time I've pulled one of these apart. There might be those of you sitting there yelling at me as usual. That should probably deserve it. What I also find interesting is all the paint marks. There's some over here that you find that are obviously from the factory. And I'd be kind of curious. I wonder if anybody out there knows what those were for. Send me an email, let me know, because I'm very curious as to why and what the paint marks stood for. Okay, we have longer bolts now here that we have to be cognizant of that too. Do I feel a spring? It's never too late for something to surprise me. All right. Yeah, nothing's gone flying yet. I thought for sure I have springs and things flying all over the shop here, but I guess not. I got lucky. Oh, hey, look at that. That came off. This cover does not want to come off, although it looks like these pins might have a lot to do with that. Have a look here at the shaft. That's not coming off, and I don't know why. I'm sure there's a simple reason. I'm sure these pins here have a lot to do with that. Let me see if I can get in here at all. Let's pry this up. It is poking up a little bit. I am not able to get it off of there. There we go. Just got it straight out. That's what I fear is when those come out. Those went, that had to go in there. Now, hopefully my parts breakdown will tell me which way that needs to go. That looks like that could go either way when it goes back together. I'm pretty certain these, yep, that's what those are. And that definitely goes down into there. Okay. I don't think I'm going to worry about that too much. That looks pretty straightforward to me. Let's have a look at the gears. I don't know if you could see that too well, but there's the pump gears there. This whole housing is going to come off. This is a very tightly machined setup. And there they go. Oh yeah, stuff going everywhere. That was all ball bearings, ladies and gentlemen. Told you, springs, ball bearings, my undoings, and all sorts of parts here. Let me now walk around the shop and find all this stuff. Where did that go? There's one. Here's one here. I think that's all that it was. should lift off, and it does. And this, I think I have to back spring. There's a key holding that on. It is not going to just come straight off nice and easily like one would like it to. Well, I'm going to kind of not try, well, I was going to try to take this gasket off to kill some time while I think about how to get that puppy off of there. And I don't need to save this. I have a new gasket. This one's quite dried up, quite compressed, but I'm just going to assume that it's been there since 1953, so really at this point it does not owe me anything. So I just need to find out how am I going to get this gear off and drive this out of here, because I got to change that seal in there. So maybe what I need to do is take this off the front, and that might answer a lot of questions for me too. You get a large set of pliers to hang on to that gear. Okay, I got a nice square shaft screwdriver here. Yeah. Oh, that's not really the way I want to do this. I was hoping that'd come off a lot easier than it is. Wonder if that'll. It does look like it is coming out. Well, it was. Then it stopped. Ooh. There's a shim. Holy mackerel. I didn't even notice that. Look at that. Don't want to mess that up. Okay. I got to press this out of there somehow. I guess I could take it over to my hydraulic press and do it. I'm assuming that'll press that out, and that can come out that way. And it doesn't need to go out that way. Makes me nervous pressing on cast iron. You just got to be careful. I'm going to think about this before I do anything crazy. So stand by a moment. Let me find out what we're going to do here. I am back today working on my hydraulic pump, my belly pump, while I'm waiting for my torque tube to come back from being welded. I took some time before I started to really get into this to make sure that I knew what I was doing when it came to putting this back together, so you weren't waiting on me going back and forth referencing my book here, which I still have as a quick reference, but I think I have everything figured out. There was a little bit of a heart attack in there with some pieces that I weren't sure where they were going, but I got it all figured out. I feel confident about it. I think we're ready to start putting this back together. You'll notice here I have the front plate here. I put it up on a couple 2x4s so that the shaft from the gear can go through here. We won't be hitting the ground at all. We can work on it up above without any restrictions. So the first thing I'm going to do is I got some universal hydraulic oil here. I looked up what International Harvester
recommended for oil, and they had a lift all fuel oil, I guess. I'm pretty sure it's not around anymore these days and you can't get it. But with the technology improvements in oils these days, I am pretty sure that any oil that we have today is far better than what they had back in those days. So I'm just using some universal hydraulic fluid, and that's probably what I'll end up using in the tank of the belly pump as well. So got all this together here, ready to go. I put some oil, hydraulic oil, in this needle bearing here. I'll also show you, I put the new seal in here. I didn't think you guys needed to see that, so I took care of that before we got together here. So that's in there. I'm just wiping whatever residual oil I have on the gears here, just so there's a little bit of lubrication putting them back together. So those are set there. Now, valves and springs, and this is the thing that really got me. I really want to make sure I figured these out and got them in the right places, and I'm still nervous about doing it here. There's a fly in here, of course. It's going to drive me crazy. But wanted to make sure that I got these in the right place. The first one that I'm going to put in looks like it goes in the bottom. It's this tapered spring, and that sits right in there. And then this ball bearing, I think it's the smallest ball bearing. It is the smallest ball bearing that comes out of this assembly. And then this guy sits right on top of there. I'm going to gently just sit that there for now. Verify that I got that correct, and it looks like I do. Then I have this piece here, and this confused me for a while as to where this went. This sits up above this. If I can get it, I'm just going to set it right on there. The spring sits on top of that. And then I have this big 3/4 inch ball bearing that sits on top of that. So we should have that when we're all set and done. That is everything at this point that's going to go in here. So I can take and put this piece on. These two holes here need to line up with those. So very gently, I'm going to lower this on here and hopefully not knock any of those off. And very gently sit that down on there. Perfect. Okay, we've got that on there. Most importantly, I do not want to forget, and it's interesting because no shims are shown in the parts diagram, but I definitely had one that came on here, and I kind of bounced back and forth as to whether this should go on first and then the big assembly or this next, but basically all this does is shim this up enough so that there's enough clearance for the gears not to hit the cover. I understand that in the past, this shim probably wasn't there, and I've heard of people complaining that over time these gears have worn into their cover and they lose pressure because of it. Hopefully I won't lose pressure having this here. It looks like it needed it. These gears stand just ever so proud of this casting here, so I'm assuming that is needed on this side. We're going to go with it. Hopefully we'll have no pressure problems putting this together. So that whole assembly is together. Now I can move on to the outer piece that covers all of this. All right, so I have all my parts here that go to this assembly. And what's interesting about this, I should make this look just like the picture. That way there's less chances of me confusing it. Because some things here definitely go in some very specific ways, and I want to make sure that I get that correct. So the one thing that I want to point out here, and let me make sure I call this the correct thing. The piston, that's what this is. This goes, you'll see that there's a hole that's off-centered on this, and when I look at the drawing, it looks like this portion of it goes into this assembly first. So this hunk here will go in this way. It should go in this way. You can see the hole's off-centered to that side. This is the longer side. This will go in here like so. I'll put that in now, but let me put a little bit of lubrication on this because it is awful dry. And sorry for the John Deere hat today. I didn't think about it when I was getting started. Unfortunately, I like them all. I don't think I have an international hat. I need to get one. Put a little hydraulic oil on these needle bearings so they're not dry as well. There is these two pieces here that are both part of the valve system, and they go very specifically, and I need to make sure that I get them correct as well. So this one goes on the bottom, which this hole here is the bottom, and this one here is going to go on the top. There we go. And then I have this little spring here, and this little spring almost drove me crazy because I wasn't sure where it went. It goes in, there's a hole up here that it goes in. I'm not going to put it in there quite yet. We'll wait a couple minutes to get it in there. Let me go clean my hands off, and we will take and put this piece on top here. All right. You should be set to go. Make sure I'm just checking my drawing, make sure I got everything right. I don't want to have to take this apart. Okay, and this should just lower onto there, except everything wants to slide out now that I lubricated it real nice, right? Thought I had it. Line that up a little bit better. I did not lubricate this hole. Where? I'm gonna put a little lube on there. I didn't put any on, shame on me. I don't want these parts going in dry if I can help it. So it's a good day to work inside. It's hot here. It's cooled off a little bit, which is kind of interesting to say, because when I say cooled off, I mean down into the 90s. Yesterday was nice. It was all cloudy. So I got some work done outside, but today is a good day to be inside for certain. All right, here we go. Hopefully that piston won't come flying out. Beautiful. Everything's on, lined up. Now, the bolts that go in here, there are different lengths, so we need to make sure that we get the correct length, of course, in the holes. And I need to go make certain of that before we put this together. And I'm going to look again where my little spring goes, the thing that drove me crazy. And trying to remember where it went. We'll have to come back to that because, oh, it goes on this side. There's a hole, I believe it goes over here on this hole right here. I'm not going to put it in there now because I'll lose it for certain. Important thing is I know where it goes because I wasn't sure. Let me get our bolts. Let's get this fastened together.